Hello and welcome to How to Play Star Wars Galaxies. In this episode, I'm just strictly going to go through and show you a little more about the user interface on the whole screen. I haven't talked about everything in much detail, so I wanted to kind of cover that a little bit, cover some things I hadn't talked about. Over here on the top left, you have your information. Now, everything on this screen you can move wherever you feel like you want to put it. Some people like to put them in different places just because it's in their way or it just interferes in their play style. Um, so on here, starting off, you have your name, your character's actual spelled out name. You have your level, and the icon behind the level changes depending on the type of profession you have. So I'm a crafter. I have this kind of a hammer. The red line is your health, kind of obvious. But to explain it a little better, the health is actually what determines if you are incapacitated or not. Um, in some other games, when you're incapacitated, you're actually dead. Your character either has to find his way back to his body to be revived, or you revive at a gravesite, something of that nature. In this game, it's a little bit different. In some ways, it's a lot more fun. You actually have a time that you are basically incapacitated, you're knocked out. If you lose all your health, you are laying on the ground, and you may have about 5 seconds before you'll get back up, and your health will slowly regenerate. Now, this is all depending on if the person you're playing against or the enemy that you're fighting against actually will instantly kill you. It's called having a death blow dealt to you. Um, Most little common enemies that are yellow that aren't really dangerous, they'll just incapacitate you so that you'll stop bothering them. An actual dangerous enemy, or especially almost any boss that's in the game, will kill you instantly as soon as they knock you out. Makes it a little more dangerous to fight them. But when you're incapacitated, the nice thing is if you are around a medic, the medic, if they have the proper skills, can actually drag your body away from the dangerous area and then revive you, or they can revive you where you are. So it's a nice thing for that. There's no penalty for actual dying, for being killed. The closest thing to a penalty is what happens in this game. There's no magic, so you are cloned in a cloning facility. You have all your items, you haven't lost anything, and you'll have a sickness to you from being cloned. The sickness lasts 10 minutes, I think, and it drastically hurts you as far as what you can do. Your health is way down, your action is way down, your combat effectiveness is way down. So the only other way to get healed is to go to an entertainer, to have a medic heal it that can do that, or to pay a fee at the cloning facility and a medical droid for, if you're in level 90, I think it's around 5,000 credits. This is not very much at all. Will heal the sickness and you can go right back into battle. So it's really not that bad. Dying in this game is not very inconvenient, other than it can relocate you from the game from where you were. It can be a real pain in the butt sometimes. The green bar is your action bar. The action bar is what determines how you can do special attacks. Essentially, if you're doing a bunch of special attacks or actions, your green bar will start draining, and if you are out of action, you can't do special attacks until that recharges. That will recharge in combat. Your health won't recharge unless you are healed. If your health goes down a bit, it won't recharge until combat is over. So it's just kind of a nice thing to remember. This little side, other, I guess, health bar thing over here, is only shows up depending on who you're clicked on. So I clicked on myself, and it shows me. If I click on another enemy out there, press the tab key, you can select things that are out of your reach. It shows their level. They're purple, so therefore they're very dangerous to me because I'm only level 5, and it gives their name and all of their information. So that's all that shows up there. This is your map, kind of your radar. If I turn, it turns. The little arrow here is north. Of course, that's south, and then so you can see if it goes north and you walk forward. Now I'm walking north. The little arrows here are showing waypoints that I have activated on here. Like this is to a little quest. It tells me it's back that direction, so I point in that direction to go forward. There's the waypoint in the sky. You walk towards it, so you can kind of navigate and figure out where you are. These are your coordinates. The first number is your x coordinate. The middle number is vertically, which is really not important unless you're in space. And the third coordinate is vertically. Now, when I say horizontal, when I say or it's y. When I say x and y, if you look at your map, x, if you remember from math class, x is horizontal and y is vertical. So if I say 3,000, starting from the center of the planet, which happens to be on Tatooine, this little dot here, 3,000 over because it's positive, and then negative 4,000 down. You look, that's about where I am right there. It's always from the center of the planet. Positive numbers go to the left on x, negative numbers go to the right, left on x. Sorry, positive go right, negative go left. Y, positive goes up, negative goes down. That's how you kind of find yourself. It's very helpful if you don't want to have to type out coordinates all the time and memorize them. Now in here, pressing V is the same as going to planetary map. The journal is where it has all of your quests memorized, where you can click on one and actually see what you're supposed to be doing next. You can also delete quests if you find you really aren't interested in doing that quest anymore. You have your profession tab, where you can find out where you are on your profession, how what level, what's on the next section awaiting for you when you level up. There's other tabs that will show up here. This is where your pilot skills will show up, chronicler will show up, and also a politician, if you decide to go that route, will show up. Your appearance tab is something pretty new. I'll go into a little more detail, but this is essentially where you can control how you look without having to show what you're wearing for combat reasons. So if you want to wear a full suit of armor and you actually want to appear as if you're wearing just normal clothes, you can do so. Inventory, which you've seen that, which is I. Data pad, which is where we have our waypoints stored, our data as far as vehicles, ships, and all that, points of interest. We have our character tab. This is where you have all the stats of your health, your action, your actual mods for strength, constitution, stamina, precision, agility, and luck. All of your armor stats. Your personal information, which shows you what species you are in case you forgot. Home just determines, wonder means you don't have a home decided. If you are in a part of a player's city, this would change. Lot, to go into that a little later. It just determines how many houses and stuff, properties you can have out. Yes, you can get married in this game. Factions, this will determine as you get into combat and also whether you're Imperial or Rebel. Skill mods, this will just, I'll have to go into this at some other point because there's a ton of different things. This is everything from crafting to combat to even just simple fun things. GCW we'll also have to get into a bit later because it's fairly in depth. It's basically, this is if you decide to become a part of the Imperial Rebel struggle, that this is really where it just keeps track of all of your points you get, the kills you have for player versus player, and there's a whole ranking system that goes on that allows you to get other perks. You have your quest builder. We'll have to do a whole tutorial on how to build quests because it's a pretty in-depth system. But essentially, you can make quests to give to friends, and it's pretty cool. There's a whole questing line that's part of the on the profession. That's part of the chronicler. Now, when you start off in the game, you will get a few quick emails from a. They're just game generated, specifically talking about whether you're going to join the Empire or join the Rebel, and it's also about space, giving you waypoints and where to go. So if you want to join the Imperial Navy, which is the joining space in the Empire, that's what this waypoint is for. So when you click in here, you read about it, and you right-click, save the attachment, then go to that waypoint to actually join the Empire for space. That does not actually mean join the Empire officially for player versus player content. They're kind of two different things, but they can go together. Same here, privateer simply means like freelance. That means if you don't want to be Empire, you don't want to be Rebel, but you still want to fly. It is possible to be an Empire soldier on the ground and to be a freelance in space. And same for Rebel. There's the waypoint for there. You can keep email. You can reply from it, which you can't do here, but it's from an actual person. You can hit reply and it will keep the it will show what they sent as well to what basic email stuff. The only downside to the email system in this game is there's not a real good way of saving email other than simply keeping it here. There's no like folder system or anything like that. They really need that. A lot of players, I think, are wanting that. Yeah, once you delete something, it is completely officially gone. There's no recovering it. So be careful with that delete button. The options bar, we've seen this before. This is where you can control your graphics, how the terrain is detailed. You can actually turn the sound off. You can control some voice settings for chatting in game, combat stuff that you'll of how it will display in game. Actual chat interface. You can change the colors of different chat functions. Actually make some alarms. Not sure what you would use that for. Your AFK message. If you wanna, when you're away from the keyboard, you can actually change the message here to where it says something specific. A lot of people use this for something kind of fun. Interface, controls, miscellaneous. There's just a lot of things you can play with. Now your key map. How to change these things? Simply, you click on the thing you want to change. You see, I want to rebind it. You actually have to physically type what you want on here. Then you hit OK, and that's what it is. When you press R again, my character just set. So, you see how that works. If you want to get rid of it, which I don't really want to keep that, clear it, and there it's gone. Same with all these, just hold those series of buttons at the same time, then hit OK, then click OK, and that will save it. Same for character, the targeting, the camera features, the chatting, the UI, which is actually what we're talking about here, how to get into things. So if you want to change something, or if you want to figure out what the key commands just naturally are, so if you want to go to your data pad and you say, I don't remember what that key is, it's K. Or if you want to change that to D, you can. The toolbar down here, this is where you can also change what it is, what the quick keys to hit, or learn what's built into the game. They do have some custom ones, specifically for if you want to make a quick binding to a macro in game that you made. We'll cover macros as well later on. And then you can just see all of them, and there's the voice. So you can change with all those settings. The one thing too about options, if you are on a slower computer and you're having a hard time running this game, the things I've specifically noticed that if you want this game to run smooth, go into the graphics, kind of turn down your viewing distance. Not as fun to play that way, but if you have to do it, you have to do it. Go into your terrain, turn down the high detail range, turn down the global terrain detail, and really critical, turn off all of the radial flora and the non-collidable nearby. Turn it all off. If you're just playing and you're just trying to level and you're trying to have real-time reactions to things, turn it off. It's not that important to your game experience. But if you're really trying to, you're enjoying it and you're just there to see things, then turn it back on. I've noticed for myself, when I was playing in a really bad environment of the game, that it was, going to be very laggy. I turned all this stuff off. I actually went into my sound, turned my sound physically off in here, so that it wasn't even trying to play the sound. That helped it the best. So, aside from actually getting a better machine or upgrading your current computer, that's the only things you can really do. You're under your community options. This is where you can actually change personal information about yourself. You can actually type in a biography about your character. You can enter in specific things. The cool thing here too is it gives your birth date. It actually tells you what day you created this character on. Searching, you can actually search for specific people in game. Maybe you're looking for a specific trader type in a city and you need something made. And you're having a hard time finding them, so you can actually search for people. Your friends list, all you gotta do is you have a person you find as a friend in game, type their name out here, click on add, and then you're done. And then you can actually list, some people have hundreds of friends listed in here. And it's cool too because you can filter out who's actually online versus who's just not even there. And you have an ignore list. If there's someone in game you find is very rude, you don't like them, and it's not really a reason to have them banned from the game or report them, but they're just rude to you, type their name out here, and anytime they post something or try sending you a tell, you will not see it. You can see them in game, you can see what they do, but you won't see any of their messages in the entire game. So it's kind of nice if you run into some rude players. The commands, we kind of touched on this as well a little earlier too. In the other, this is where you have like your button for changing your duty status if you are in the GCW. Some of your city commands if you're a mayor. Some buttons for dueling, for following, for foraging, gallop if you have a mount. Just a lot of, as they say, there are other buttons. Also, all of your entertainer buttons are here. In combat, which I don't have any combat skills, so they're not in there. Social are pretty fun. Basically, if you look on me, they can cause your character to actually do things. So pretty funny. They really add, if you learn what the quick keys for these are, they really add a lot of fun things you can do in game with other friends for role playing. Collections. And I don't have any collections on this character yet. I will show you some collections down the road, but collections are a pretty fun system. All you basically do is as you find things in game, you add them to your collection. You actually right click on them and tell it to say add to collection. There's a ton of collections in game. You add them in, and as you finish them out, you get rewards or you get experience for doing the collection. There are some pretty high-end things in this game that are strictly collections. So keep up, keep finding those when use them when you find them. Add them to yourself. You'll have a lot of fun. It's kind of like badges, but I think they're a little more fun than badges. You have your waypoint listing here. Right click on them to add them or to take them off if you don't want to see them. This is only the waypoints visible for this planet you're on. Just keep that in mind. It's kind of nice. And that's basically all the things we haven't really touched on. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Hope you enjoyed it.